Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and folk of all ages, you know what time it is. It is May the 1st. So let's go over the holidays, holy days, days of remembrance of our people for the month of May. And easily enough, today's the holiday, May Day. Now, we do normally observe it on the third Saturday of the month, this month being the 18th, but officially, as we discussed last month, May the 1st is May Day. It follows April 30th, or Hexanocht, right smack on the calendar. So, let's talk about May Day first, mix it up a little bit. Then we'll follow up with our Day of Remembrance, which as always is on the 9th of the month, for Elsie Christensen. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. May Day, on the heels of Hexanocht, when the cattle were blessed in the smoke of the fire before being sent to their summer fields, we celebrate May Day. Halfway between the spring and summer solstice, May Day is often considered to be the first day of summer. Warmer days are becoming normal. The spring rains that help to nourish the awakening fields have begun to taper off. The world around us is verdant again. On May Day, sometimes called Sommermal, big celebrations were held both to celebrate the end of the harder days of winter and to bless themselves and their crops for a fertile and productive year. Men and women leapt over fires together or alone, wishing for fertility in the coming year. The maypole was raised, and around it, people danced and wove their ribbons. Women decorated their windows and doors with flowers and wove them into their hair. May Day is a coming together of men and women to celebrate life. We use this time to celebrate all the good things that we have, all the things that we have worked hard for. We have survived the harsh months when stagnation is so easy a thing to fall into. When the celebration is done, the real hard work begins. The plan that was set into motion at Charming of the Plough will now begin the active stage. Those seeds that you planted, or that project that you planned at Ostara, will now need real tending to. May Day marks the beginning. It marks the start of growth. Where one has the will, all things can happen. And that's May Day. We follow that up on the 9th of the month for the Day of Remembrance for Elsie Christensen. Originally born in Denmark, Elsie Christensen, née Oksner, was one of the leading figures in the modern Asatru movement. As a young woman, she left her hometown of Esbjerg in favor of Copenhagen. It was during her time in Copenhagen that Elsie awoke to the ideas of National Socialism in the midst of right-wing and left-wing radical struggles. She met and married Age Alex Christensen, and together they were members of the Danish Workers' Party. Both she and her husband were imprisoned after the German invasion of Denmark in 1940 for their involvement with elements of the National Workers' Party. After their release from prison, Elsie and her husband immigrated to Canada via England. Even from Canada, Elsie continued to nurture her desires to find a place for her own people. It was during this time, while she was reaching out to far-right activists across North America, that she first discovered Odinism in a pamphlet titled Call of Our Ancient Nordic Religion by Alexander Rudd Mills. This was the beginning of Elsie's dedication to the revival of the worship of the Norse gods. Her understanding of our relationship with the gods was heavily influenced by the idea that the gods were encoded in the collective unconscious of the Aryan race. In 1969, Elsie Christensen founded the Odinist Fellowship. Until her death in 2005, Elsie worked tirelessly for her folk, spreading the word of our faith and our gods to all who would listen. She founded a prison outreach program that proved to be instrumental to many men. She wrote and published many publications. Her efforts saw her recognized as the folk mother to Asatru everywhere. So, what can we learn from this story? We don't always know where our stories end. We can't always see the ramifications of our thoughts when put into action. Elsie was just one single woman. She was a woman who believed in unpopular ideas in a time when those ideas were definitively unpopular. Despite being in prison for those beliefs, she did not give up. Our current times are, in many ways, similar to the ones that Elsie dealt with. They are turbulent and wrought with anger on all sides. We stand at the precipice of a new world, but we have no way of knowing which way the tides will turn. Elsie didn't turn and run. She stood and faced the future. In doing so, she became one of the most important women in the Asatru movement to date. When things are hard, when public opinion would have you conform, just remember, your story hasn't reached its end yet, and only you can control the direction the story takes. Stand strong. Stand with Elsie. Elsie Christensen is the dedicated hero of Baldershof. For more information and a deeper dive into the life of and acts of our folk mother, check out baldershof.org. I'll make sure to include a link in the description of that. And thank you so much, everybody. That is May. Next month, we'll talk about our next hero, as well as the next holiday, which is Midsummer. And speaking of Midsummer, make your plans. Come out to Odenshof. I'll see you there. Have a good one, everybody. Talk to you next month. And until then, hail the gods, hail the folk, hail the AFA, and hail Elsie Christensen.